ฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญาณปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสามีจิปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆยะติทังจัตตาริปุริสายุคานิอัตถปุริสโภคลาเอสะภะคะ ฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆญายะปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆสามีจิปฏิปันโนภะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆยะติตังจัตตาริปุริสยุคานิอัตถปุริสปุคคลาเนสัพพะคะวะโตสาวกสังโฆอาหุนายโยปาหุนายโยทักขินายโยอัญชลีกรณิโยอนุตตรังปุญญเขตังโมกัสสติ
Zo, welkom allemaal. Wat fijn dat er weer zoveel mensen zijn die de tijd hebben gevonden om te kunnen kijken. Nou is dat natuurlijk, valt dat nogal mee. Okay, some problem with the connection here. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me? Can you reply? Hello? วันนั้นออกไปเลยนะเพราะว่าเดี๋ยวถ้าเกิดเราปิดมันจะมีเสียงนั่นแหละบอกว่าเอาออกไปก่อน Yes? Okay. So everybody can hear me. Now, here we are again. Why this talk? I think that one of the most important things to know is that, in my opinion, this is a turning point in history. And the turning point is actually that you can finally start to use your power. You can be really in your power. Now today I had a very funny thing happening. I was not wearing a mask, and people were telling me that I had to wear a mask. Well, if you follow the guidelines of the World Health Organization, they say there's not much use for it except for doctors and nurses. So, funny thing about that is also that most of the Chinese that came to Thailand always wore these masks, and it turned out, I asked a friend of mine in Wuhan, who said that like 60 to 70% of the Chinese in big cities always wear these masks. So there's not really much use for those masks, except for the fact when you are infected and you don't want other people to get infected because of you. But there's other ways to do that as well. Now, it is important to mention because isn't it so that your balanced judgment should not be obscured by your fear? Your balanced judgment should not be obscured by your fear. The fear, as we saw in the previous video, is a self-constructed drama that we constantly do. We constantly construct dramas for ourselves. And as we saw in the previous video, it's like layer upon layer upon layer of drama. So that ultimately, we will never realize what it was and how it started. I know that right now you're being influenced by the media, and there's all sorts of information coming in, and you're trying, of course, everybody does this, you're trying to make your choices, the choices of those things that you think are reasonable and seem plausible, and those things that you think, well, that doesn't really sound too good. Just as I really absolutely do not believe that not walking in nature is better for your health. I think that walking in nature is actually very good for your health. Right here and right now in Thailand, most of natural parks are closed. But I do believe that being in nature, and of course not in large groups and not in gatherings in nature, but being in nature by yourself, recluse maybe, that is actually very healthy, and it will build your immune system. So we have a tendency to do as we are told. And of course we call that the sheep attitude. We see other people doing things and we like to follow with those things. And we think, oh, this must be good, this must be right, this must be correct. But never let your own reasonable judgment be obscured by the fear of others. And not the fear of the media and the fear of any kind of information that comes to you. You can make very good decisions yourself, I'm sure of that. But they got to be reasonable and they got to be fair. So that's all up to you. This is a time where there is a great chance for change. There's a great chance for change. Hope you will transmutate. Can't find the connection to see it live. Oh, that's a shame. Well, it is on Sri Annatta. I will later on put it on anyway. But this is a time with a chance for change. And I have always been speaking about the fact that politics is actually a form of delusion. Giving you the idea that you have lots of things to say and giving you the idea that maybe you can change lots of stuff. Well, maybe you cannot. I have often asked people in various countries a couple of questions. One question was, did you go and elect people in government? And most of them will say, yeah, I went. Did some of the people you chose get into government? Yes, they did. Are they doing what you wanted them to do? Mostly the answer is no. Now that's interesting. So politics is a form of delusion. Now, that still doesn't mean that we don't have any effect on the leaders of various countries. We do have an effect on that. And actually, can you imagine that 2,600 years ago, Buddha already laid down specific pointers so that you could look at them still now, every day, and judge for yourself, hey, is what I'm choosing now, and is what I'm doing now, and is what I'm involved in, is that really for the good of all? Because that's one of the things that we have maybe forgotten a bit, that we should not only choose for ourselves. I even sometimes think that people choose for their wallets. You choose for your wallet, you choose for the politician that will give you the most money or the least taxation. But that's not really what it's about, is it? It's about choosing for each other, choosing for the other people, choosing to be social towards each other, choosing to be able to have other people be of our society. That's of course very important, to have other people be a part of our society and to not become divided, but to all be one, to be one in love, because that's what it's all about. And we gotta love the planet, of course, in that sense. We gotta love the planet. And in that sense, it's so important because we are more or less caretakers. Or I even sometimes say we rent this planet. We are here temporarily. It's just a temporary thing that we are here, and we should really take good care of it, because the reason why we're here is to hand it over to our children and our children's children. Isn't that very important? Isn't that important for you right now? To hand it over to your children and to be able to say, hey, I handed over something good, something nice, something wonderful. So that social point of view, which now is being ridiculed a lot, and is being said, oh, it's a leftist thought and it's nearly communism or whatever. No, social means being social towards all other beings. And if you look at the whole crisis that has occurred right now, it actually has turned out that a lot of the things that have caused this crisis are the way that we have been handling this planet, the way that we've been treating this planet. And Mother Earth is saying, hey, it's enough. And that's why there is a connection between all the radiation in the world, the 5G, and there's a connection between eating animals, there's a connection between livestock markets. All these kind of things are connected. And all these things, this connection actually has caused the drama that we're in now. So we are a part of the drama, and actually we are creator of this drama. Now, the Buddha laid down, 2600 years ago, he laid down a couple of virtues that we should look in if we are choosing people to govern us, that we should look into for leaders and for rulers of countries. And of course, in his days, he was talking about rajas, which were the leaders in those days. And in that sense, these rules are called the Dhasa Dhamma Rajas. So the rules that actually declare how well the people that will lead us in a certain direction. And that is, of course, very important. Because we actually have a lot of power, but we have given the power away to other people. And in that sense, it's important that we should start to think about grabbing that power back a little bit and being able to take care of the planet in a way that we seem fit and that we know is the most plausible way to deal with the planet. So if we think that we don't have any power, no, we actually do have a lot of power. And I would like you to check it out, see if it works, and use these rules, these little checklists of the Buddha for yourself. Use them really in a sense so that you can see, okay, does this work for me? And does a leader that I'm about to choose, does he actually live up to these rules? Which is very important, of course. See if a leader can actually weigh up to the rules of that which you think is probable and most normal to do. Well, the first one is dana. A Dhammaraja should be in dana, which means he should be generous. He should be a generous person. He should be into charity, have the ability to make merit, which means to help others. Giving away necessities to the needy. Well, aren't we seeing that right now? There's a lot of people that are needy right now, and they need our help. And I understand, there's lots of people that actually cannot make a dime anymore at the moment. So that's a big problem. And those are needy people. And somebody who is in control, somebody who is a leader, would actually see that and would look after the welfare of the needy. The ideal ruler should wisely give in order to create circumstances so that all can prosper. It doesn't mean just giving everything away. It means wisely giving. We all know this wonderful saying, give a man a fish and he has to eat for a day. But give a man the tools to fish, then you know that he will be able to take care of himself all his life. Give a man the tools to farm and you will be able to grow your own vegetables. So in that sense, wisely give in order to create circumstances so that all can prosper. And that's the first one. It's a form of generosity that comes from leaders that you will choose. The second one is, of course, a very important one, and I talk about this a lot. It's Sila. And Sila is morality or virtue. A leader must at least observe the 5 precepts. And the 5 precepts, the first one is the most important one, which means already not to harm any living creature. Can you imagine if we would have leaders that would think like that, how this world would look like? And he should be able to conduct himself both in private and in public life as to a shining example to the people around him. The virtue is very important because if the ruler adheres to the virtue and is strict, then bribery and corruption, violence and indiscipline would be automatically wiped out. So there would be no corruption, and the money would definitely go to the people to whom it's needed. A leader is an example. He teaches the people to live a moral and austere life. So if you want to be an example to others, that's when you live a moral and austere life, yourself. I think that Gandhi was somebody who at least tried that very well. And a leader should be grateful for what the earth has to offer, and so that we can use it in a sensible way. That which the earth has to offer us, we can use it in a sensible way. So that Sila, that morality, the virtue, is a very important subject for leaders. Parityaga is the next step, and that's that a leader should be comforting towards the people, making sacrifices if they are for the good of the people. And that sacrifice could even be personal, and it could even be in name and fame. Not being interested in how well you're appreciated, but doing the right thing for everybody. Not elevated by praise or being put down by rumors of all sorts, by the grant of gifts or whatever. The leader spurs the subjects onto more efficiency and care for the earth, and more to the whole. And once we're all interested in the whole, we are all interested in each other. And then we realize more and more that we all are one. We should be encouraging, and if need be, by taxing others that are well off to do so. So that means if there's a very rich group of people and they need to be taxed a little bit more in order to help the others as well, well, then that needs to be done. And ultimately, it's like constantly showing that we are but lessees of this world. We are just renting this world. We're only temporarily here. We are safeguarding it for generations to come. And that's what a leader should think about as well, that we are safeguarding this world for the next generations. The fourth idea of a good leader is ajava, which is honesty and integrity. Well, we don't see a lot of that nowadays, so we should be really looking at that. And don't forget, all these things you can just skip off. Like, does this leader does it really apply to this person? And if it does, well, then that's probably a correct choice. So honesty and integrity. A leader must be absolutely straightforward and must never take recourse to any crooked or doubtful means to achieve his ends. So that means it's not this little game of trying to get things done. It's being honest and straightforward why you want things done. Because honesty definitely lasts the longest. Yeah? He must be free from fear or favor in the discharge of his duties. So what you can see a lot is that some leaders will take decisions because there will be praise heaped upon them. Well, that's not really the idea of a leader, is it? Madhava is kindness or gentleness. A ruler's uprightness may sometimes require some firmness to say, listen, let's all go in this direction and see where it goes, and let's try this because it's something new. But this should be tempered with kindness and gentleness. So you can say, I want to make some decisions, but you should be kind and gentle about it. In other words, a ruler should not be over harsh, strict, or cruel. And then the next aspect is tapa, restraint of the senses and austerity in habits. Shunning indulgence in sensual pleasures is very important for a leader. An ideal leader keeps his five senses under control. And as we can see a lot, some leaders might even use their position to get certain things done that normally they wouldn't do. Well, if you flout moral conduct, that's really not being a leader. Akado is non-hatred. The ruler should not bear grudges against anybody. You might lose sometimes in parliament or whatever kind of constitution you have. And then you shouldn't be grudging towards those people who have done something that doesn't work for you. Without harboring grievances, he must act from love and from the heart, which is so important. If we act from the heart, and if all political leaders would act from the heart, wouldn't that be a fantastic way of ultimately reaching that which we have this earth for in custody? Why do we have it in custody, this wonderful world? Why do we have this earth in custody? Because we are supposed to be safeguarding it. So, to be careful, to have no grievances, and also not go into political victimization. And a part of that can also be, if somebody does not agree with the leader in a political sense, it doesn't mean that you still cannot grant that person the chance to take care of the people that are on his side. So in that sense, it's very important that those who did not vote for a leader should not be society. All about inclusion. The next part is ahimsa, non-violence. Not only should a leader refrain from harming anybody, but should also try to promote peace and prevent war. And when necessary, this could even be done by investigating the causes of war. Have you ever thought about that? Why does a war exist? Where does a war come from? What can we do to stop a war? How can we make sure that a war doesn't start? To practice non-violence to the highest extent, so long as it does not interfere with the firmness expected from an ideal ruler. Now there can be plagues, there can be famine in a country, and that might cause a war. So what do you do as a leader? Well, then you help the people. You help them to fight the plague. Right now we got a plague. You help them to fight the plague, and you help other countries to fight the plague, and you help, if people don't have enough to eat, you help to stop the famine. You send grains and food over there in order to make sure that the people have food. That's how you stop a war, not by fighting off and trying to hold on to what you think is yours. The next point is kanti, and that is that a leader should have patience and tolerance. He shouldn't be losing his temper constantly, and a ruler should be able to bear up to some insults and maybe even some hardship himself. In any occasion, he should be able to conduct himself without giving into all these specific emotions. Aviroda is non-opposition and non-enmity. The ruler should not oppose the will of the people. He must cultivate the spirit of amity amongst his subjects. Now, you can think about this. This is a very important point. To be able to induce more amity between the people. And not only in his own country, but all over the world. Amity all over the world. To make sure that the people feel oneness again. The Buddha has instructed these ideas and has emphasized that the fact that the nature of the subjects depends largely on the behavior of their rulers. Now that's a very important one. The nature of the subjects depends very largely on the behavior of their rulers. So the way the rulers are is the way the people will behave. Now I have just come back from a large congregation. I can't get too much into the detail, but it was a large meeting of very well accomplished people, and there we all agreed that these 10 ideas of the Buddha that he laid down in those days, and it's not because it's Buddha, because actually these basics you find back in every religion. Ultimately, if a leader, if a ruler would behave in that sense, wouldn't that make this world so much a better place? And that's what it's all about, making this world a better place. And we have the chance. And that is why I wanted to talk to you here. That we have the chance, right here, right now, to really change this world. We have the chance to really make a change. This is a chance. This is not something horrible that's just happening to us. Look at all the wonderful things that are also occurring right in this moment. We can see that rivers are more clean. We can see that the sky is more clean. We can see that there's less noise all around us, so that we can relax more in ourselves. And then what do we do? What do we do? Some people will get into Netflix or whatever it's called, and try to find more movies to really get their minds out of this whole system and just go somewhere else. Well, sorry, that's actually bread and circuses all over again. Panem et circenses, which is what the Romans were already having. To put your mind into something else so that you don't have to go inside. Because that's what this is all about. To finally realize we should all be going inside and not outside. And what do? Well, we get extra Netflix and we get extra movies and we get whatever you have nowadays. And we try to put our mind to something else. And I can understand it. I can understand it when I see it coming by on Facebook, a wonderful video of people in Italy singing to each other, or people singing for old people's homes. Wonderful, I love it, it's great. But it's actually taking us away from the root of what is happening right now. And the root of what is happening right now is go inside. This is a wonderful invitation. Finally, you have all the time on your hands, because you're not able to make money. You're not able to go out and do your things unless you're in a service industry that really needs to carry on. So if that is the fact, that means that right now you have the chance to go inside, to meditate, and to do your meditations. And I will later on again put some wonderful meditations that are on the YouTube channel underneath. And the meditations on the YouTube channel are free. Yes, I appreciate donations, but the only reason I appreciate donations is because then I can keep the project going. I can take care of all the animals that we're taking care of here, and I can take care of the people that help me take care of the project. But the videos are free. So go there, take them, use them, see what it does for you. And I'm sure that there are some wonderful videos in there for you. And I will put quite a few more on in the next coming days. Making sure that there is a nice volume of videos. There will be some extra videos also on the website, which is the buddhapilgrimage.com. But ultimately, it's all about you going inside. Can you do it? Can you go inside? Because that's what it's now about. Can you go inside right now? Go inside. Because that's what it's about. It's not about all these other things that are happening out there. It's not about the fear. It's not about whatever all these people want you to believe that's going on. It's about you going inside and doing your meditations, doing contemplations to ponder upon the reality of your life. Where is it going? To ponder upon, for instance, how we're using the earth and how we're abusing the earth, how we have been abusing it. Just look at the cell phones. Every year there's a new one for your brand, and every year you probably need a new one for some reason. I don't think that's true, and it isn't true. So please look at that and try to change, because what is happening right now is a chance for change. It's not something that has just accidentally occurred. This is something that is so wonderful. Yes, there are people dying. Yes, there is sickness. Yes, I understand that. But it's also a chance. It's a chance for change. The earth is telling us to change. We are guardians of the earth. We are more or less now still in control. There is going to be a moment where we're not in control anymore. I have always said we are like the fleas in the pelt of a dog on the earth. Now, if we keep sucking the blood out, the dog ultimately will jump into the water, shake himself off a little bit, and the fleas are gone. The dog remains. The earth will remain. I don't have any problem with that. It's a wave, it's a circle, but do you want to be a part of it? And would you like to be a guardian of the earth? And would you like to do that in a way that ultimately we will still have something to give to the generations to come? Will there still be something for the generations to come? Do you want that? Well, wouldn't that be wonderful? If we can hand over something and say, look, my precious child, what I've got for you. This is what I have been taking care of. This is the seed that I've planted in this earth, and there's a beautiful little flower coming out of it. Here it's for you. Can you take care of it? Because that's actually what this is about. It's a chance. It's a chance for change. Now we should all change. All of us. We should look deep inside and change. And I hope you're going to do that. I'm so happy that you were here to enjoy this with me. And of course, please stay connected. I will make sure there will be more. There will be videos about meditation. If you haven't done it that much yet, it doesn't matter. Everybody can meditate. I'm 100% sure about that. In teaching it for 40 years and doing it for 45, I have seen that everybody can meditate. You can meditate too. You can go inside. You can contemplate. You can just sit and relax and view the world go by. And I hope you're going to do this. Do it all together. We are all one. And I hope you're going to do it.